Before I start this video, I just want to note how insanely similar this video is going to sound to the pandemic that we're currently dealing with. Just some food for thought. Hi everybody, welcome back to Oxford History. In lieu of the pandemic that we're currently dealing with, COVID-19, I'm going to be talking today about the Spanish flu of 1918. So when I hear 1918, I immediately think World War I, mass immigration, and mass trade. At this time, people are moving around the world and moving stuff around the world at extremely high rates that have never been seen before. It's fair to say that the prominent carrier of the Spanish flu back into America were US soldiers fighting in World War I. They were over in Europe, where the flu probably originated. There's no direct link to where it exactly originated, but these soldiers were fighting over in Europe. They're packed in trenches, they're packed in camps, and this flu could be spread between all of them super easily. At this time in medical history, the common flu hadn't been identified yet. That's why US Army doctors were so perplexed as to how the soldiers who were being infected were so lively and normal days before, and then days later after their initial infection, they were just dying like crazy. The virus first appeared in the United States in Kansas at an Army training camp in March of 1918. 5 weeks later, 1,000 soldiers had been infected and 47 were already dead. The symptoms of that wave were relatively mild compared to the second wave. Yes, there is a second wave and a third wave of the Spanish flu. The second wave hit Boston when 2 sailors contracted the virus. Patients had like blue and black faces, they had spots on their cheeks, they had sore throats, high fevers, and they eventually developed pneumonia. They had a ton of other symptoms that I can't stomach to say out loud, but trust me, super sad, super gross, very deadly. There were actually conspiracy theories of where the virus came from, and some people thought that Soviet U-boats were releasing poisonous gas into the air at US ports. Some people didn't believe the hype at all. Philadelphians actually ignored health officials' warnings on September 29th and hosted a parade where 200,000 people were in attendance, and it was to promote the sale of government war bonds. Within that week, the week after September 29th, 1918, all 31 of Philadelphia's hospitals were filled with people who were sick with the virus. That begs the question, how did the United States flatten the curve? People started wearing masks in public, children stopped going to school, families were quarantining at home, social gatherings were banned, but people were not listening. San Francisco ended up getting hit the hardest. In an analysis done in 2007, experts had discovered that if San Francisco had kept up with quarantine, had stayed home, wore masks, didn't have public gatherings, their death rate could have been reduced by up to 90%. I told you all of this was going to sound eerily familiar to what we're dealing with today. So how does it all end? By 1919, summer 1919, the Spanish flu is gone, and everybody who was infected either died or became immune. It eventually took the lives of tens of millions of people around the world, and that includes the 675,000 people in the United States who died. It's hard to keep my opinions to myself on a topic that is so relevant, so all I'm gonna say is take healthcare officials seriously and take history seriously, as it tends to repeat itself more times than not. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Stay healthy, stay inside, don't infect anybody with your germs, don't be selfish, and I will see you next time.